Welcome to qnawire.
Because we can write pi minus 2x that we're taking the cotangent of as negative 2x plus pi, and then we can factor out the negative 2 actually, and that we would get x minus pi over 2. And then that negative with the negative out front, when we switch those around, is going to make the leading coefficient positive. So that's going to match D. When all of a sudden, when we take the negative out, it's going to affect the negative out front, but not the sign of the constant, not the vertical shift. The interval of the principal cycle, because of the horizontal shrink of 2, the period is originally pi, but with the horizontal shrink it's pi over 2, but then there's a phase shift of pi over 2 to the right as well, meaning it's going to go from pi over 2, let me write this clearly for you, to pi in its principal cycle. You'll see a cycle right before that actually if you were to look at the graph of it, which maybe we can do this here. Oh, yeah. It's actually going to look like C. Yeah, between pi over 2 and pi. With the midline at 1, and then the inflection points are kind of like an amplitude of 3 up and down, if that makes sense. Okay, now the equation of the left vertical asymptote of the principal cycle would be pi over 2, and the equation of the right, well, the equation would be x equals pi over 2 and x equals pi. The coordinates of the center point of the principal cycle would be halfway between pi over 2 and pi, which would be halfway between pi over 2 and pi would be 3 pi over 4, and a y value of 1. Then the coordinates of 2 halfway points of the principal cycle. Okay, well, if that's pi over 3 pi over 4, then halfway between pi over 2 and 3 pi over 4. This is the same as 2 pi over 4, but halfway between there, let's go in denominators of 8. So think of this as 4 pi over 8 and 6 pi over 8. Then halfway between would be 5 pi over 8. And a y coordinate would be going up 3 because of the vertical stretch of 3 from the middle. So from 1 and adding 3, that would go up to 4. And the second one would be between 3 pi over 4 and pi. But in 8s, that's 8 pi over 8, and again 6 pi over 8. So halfway between those is 7 pi over 8. And that would go down 3 from the middle. So 1, that vertical shift of 1 down 3 is negative 2.